Hello everybody, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Here we are live today. Here's what's going on. We're talking today about the National Teachers Union preparing to strike if schools are not open and safety. We'll tell you about the Democrats and Republicans' responses to unemployment insurance as we look to the next stimulus package coming after this pandemic. Also, we'll take a look at the DNC platform, how that's shaping up, the Veepstakes, and why my long-held prediction about Kamala Harris may not be correct after all, which would suck. And finally, did Hillary lose because of sexism? We will consider. This is Newsflash, and of course, two of those stories in there are going to be previously recorded stories from YouTube videos. So if you want to hear those stories first before listeners of the podcast, you can go subscribe to YouTube for no extra charge, and you're good. So yeah, we are talking, of course, about this stimulus package. We just have a new little bit of action and some reporting in from SWRN's senior political analyst Glenn Bradford, letting us know the Senate today, $1 trillion coronavirus relief bill unveiled includes hundreds of millions of dollars towards Pentagon projects that were canceled after Trump redirected funds to pay for the border wall. So kind of a fun little jab there. But also going on right now that we will just want to mention quickly here off the top of the show here. AG Barr is defending his actions literally right now here. As we are live today at around just after 2 o'clock. He's defending his actions currently in Congress when it comes to the recent handling of the protests, especially in Lafayette Park, clearing that peaceful protest, seemingly just so Trump could come and give that photo op. So that is what he has in mind there. But of course, we are going to start today's show officially by talking about teachers. So, the second largest teachers union in the United States announced on Tuesday that it would support its 1.7 million members if they choose to strike in districts and states to move to reopen classrooms. Without adequate health and safety measures. The union said the AFG said strike should be a last resort, but the resolution approved by the organization's executive council gives educators and their union representatives additional muscle in negotiations over what would constitute adequate protection for teachers and school employees. So, again, I think it's absolutely the right move to do here because this is where unions come for. This is why you need union and worker power. Because when people who have clearly do not have your best interests at heart try to force you for economic profit and economic gain that won't ever get back to you, and put your lives online, and teachers will be at risk. Kids will be put at risk as well if they're not safe measures, and kids' parents will be put at risk, and school staff as well. Not just teachers in there, but administrators, like faculty, custodians, you name it, everybody. But this is what worker power is really all about. It's so important when you have someone trying to screw you, when you have someone trying to put you in these situations without adequate safety protections, without any kind of adequate safety measures. Like, it is critical, I think, that you just need to take a stand. You need to say that this just will not be acceptable. It will not be tolerated. And it's something that, again, it just has to, we just have to realize what is going on here and just how problematic it is going to try to be if we don't have some serious, kind of fixing of this very, very soon. So, the union is pushing for schools to wait to reopen classrooms until coronavirus transmission rates in a community fall below 1% and average daily positive rates stay below 5%, something that very few places have achieved. A recent New York Times analysis found that only 2 of the nation's 10 largest school districts could open under that latter threshold, because in a lot of the country, coronavirus still is very, very much a big, big problem. We will fight on all fronts for the safety of our students and their educators, the union's president, Randy Weingarten, said in a speech at the organization's annual convention, which is being held online this week. She said if that if the federal government can support the cruise industry and the hedge funds during the coronavirus, they sure as hell can help working families and can help educators ensure our kids get the education that they need. I think it's absolutely, it's completely fair. It's completely important, and it's completely this. If you don't want to have a union, if you don't want to have if you have a union that doesn't come up for you in a time like this, then what's the point of having a union? This is when you need a union. You need someone to come out and defend you and protect you and make sure you're not putting your life on the line for something for other people's profits. And again, this is designed. The reason why they want schools open is to get a sense in the country that things are back to normal, of course, before election season begins and election day comes and goes and Trump's out of office. But they also, of course, want to get the economy growing. They want parents to stop having to watch their kids so they can go back to work and slaving away at those big jobs where they're planning to now cut unemployment insurance. I don't know. Of course, now all those people have lost and are still losing. But that's what it's about. It's just restarting the economy, giving capitalism the kind of kick in the butt it needs to get back going, and of course to restart the same old system that now is going to be even more unequal and kind of just really and even more unfair and just even more dangerous for some of working families, working educators, and working students. Or not working students, but working students from working class families, especially, they're going to be pushed to open without adequate safety measures. What do you think is going to have better safety measures? What do you think is going to have better ways to protect its kids? Of course, the wealthier private schools, or the schools that are being pushed to reopen without the adequate funds, without the adequate resources, with the adequate time by governments who want to see the economy start, who want to see capitalism kind of continue. For some people, for Jeff Bezos, don't get me wrong, capitalism is continuing just fine. But just for as far as the markets are concerned, the general state of the economy, and to get things back to normal, it is critical, of course, that schools would open. But if it's not safe to do so, then you need this union to come in and defend you and to protect you and to, I think, just fight up for your rights and make sure that you are not walking into a death trap for no reason in a way that's set up to only benefit kind of the wealthiest and most powerful people among us. So yeah, shout out to the AFT, Union Strong, and keep an eye on this story, because I do think it's going to be one of the biggest political issues that we are going to have to deal with in the future. All right, now to the GOP response and how they're going to be handling unemployment insurance. Back to politics. What we're going to be talking about today is COVID-19, and specifically the stimulus packages to stimulate the economy that Congress has been working on. So that is probably the most interesting thing that we are seeing right now, and it's going to be a big part of the future debate as we look to, it's going to have to be determined soon. What are we going to do about these eviction moratoriums that are coming to an end? What are we going to be doing about unemployment benefits that have been so helpful to people? I mean, I've seen videos. If you a great place to go to, in my opinion, is you look at the Reddit for unemployment r/unemployment, and I've seen some really interesting pictures on Twitter of it. If you follow the Washington Post reporter Jeff Stein, about how interesting and how substantively people's lives have changed. I've heard people say that getting the $600 a week, which is actually a little bit more than I think minimum wage workers would be making per week. So they do get paid more on unemployment, just by a little bit, I think. Some people do than when they're not getting the $600. And again, of course, that very generous unemployment benefit does not apply to everybody. But people are talking about how they felt like it's been life-changing for them. They're now, since they have had this opportunity to not go into work every day for long hours and low pay and just get harassed and yelled at by customers and their bosses for all this time, that they want to go and pursue a trade. They want to go into a different career. They want to go back into higher education. All this stuff is good stuff that should be happening more and more and more and more and more in a healthy society that I think more than the $1,200 check, this unemployment stuff has been so helpful for. And I highly recommend you go check out those stories because they're really, really interesting and a great way to kind of feel like you're getting a good glimpse into the reality of America right now. But yeah, of course, the Washington Post now reporting on the latest to do with this. So there you see Mitch McConnell as the House Democrats have proposed keeping the $600 benefit in place through January, but the program is set to expire now later this week. But as you can see on the top line there, Senate Republicans in the White House are seeking to reduce the unemployment benefit from $600 to $200. Yeah, so as Erica Warner, Jeff Stein, again, and Sungmin Kim are going to explain, the proposal will come as part of a broader $1 trillion stimulus bill aimed at dealing with the economic fallout caused by coronavirus. Republicans plan to release later on Monday, and that they hope to use during negotiations with Democrats. The $600 weekly jobless benefit expires in a few days, and House Democrats have proposed extending it until January because the unemployment rate remains very high. And I think that's something that's probably going to be more effective than just throwing in another like $1,200 check, which is what they want to do in addition to cutting it down to $200. I'm sure hopefully they can at least reach some sort of compromise, obviously, because Senate and it's going to be interesting to see like how the Democrats take this in negotiations. Like, are they going to try and get it to like 350 or 300, or are they just going to be like, okay, we'll give you 200. Okay, sorry. Or will, in some kind of crazy scenario, the Democrats actually negotiate and push hard to fight for something and maybe get the unemployment benefits to stay exactly where they are. That would be interesting. And just get rid of maybe the $1,200 check, which is like, I don't think is as effective, but having a little bit of weekly income that will keep you afloat each and every time, and maybe expanding access to that unemployment benefits, kind of in lieu of the $1,200 check, would be very, very informative. And very, very effective. The Republican package will also propose cutting the current $600 per week increase to $200 per week as states implement the transition to new wage replacement mechanisms. These people said, and of course the sources, inside of the Senate Republican caucus. The new plan was discussed on an internal call with congressional Republican staffers on Monday, one of the people said. It appeared to be a new development on Sunday. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin denied on Fox News Sunday that the program would propose lowering the unemployment benefit to a specific dollar amount, saying instead it would be based on a formula. So just kind of means testing there, which was what we always love to see from our politicians. Woo! The late afternoon rollout will come after Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows spent the weekend on Capitol Hill negotiating the final language with key Senate aides. It will be the second try for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who planned to unveil the bill last Thursday. It was canceled last minute amid disputes over language on unemployment and other issues. I believe another big thing that the Trump administration, I think, wanted, and the Republicans didn't, and the Senate was, or maybe I'm mixing that up, was the payroll tax, which they eventually decided to exclude. I think Trump wanted a payroll tax cut, but Senate Republicans did not want it. If I remember correctly, which ended up getting excluded. The legislation is also expected to include a new round of $1,200 checks to individual Americans, extension of unemployment benefits at a reduced level, billions of dollars for schools, with some of money aimed at helping classrooms reopen. I think that's good as well. And a 5-year liability shield for businesses, healthcare, and others. So again, got to throw in that little piece to the businesses as well there, which I don't think should be in there. But some of the other stuff I think is bipartisan. You can get a lot of good agreement on that. But yeah, I think if you really I think it's very, very dangerous, kind of a very, very dangerous game for the Republicans to play, at least politically, coming into the 2020 election and being like, yeah, we know you're struggling, but we want to get the money that is helping people the most, which is the unemployment benefits. We want to reduce that, and you gotta focus getting your way back to work. And that's what it is. It's the ideology of trickle-down economics, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that they have completely bought into, and it's been sold by the rich, who are making it up out of whole cloth because it's an ideology that purely benefits them. So what I think the real question is here is, will the Democrats be able to hold the line on unemployment and actually push to not maybe keep it the same or keep it a little bit less, but expand access to unemployment benefits and keep that same dollar amount, which has been so helpful